Okay guys, welcome to another video. This is an HP Envy TS17. One of those with Touch Smart, i7, 16 gigs of RAM, and all that good stuff. Well, a while ago, I decided to make it into a Hackintosh. Why, you think? Well, these instruments. That's the reason I wanted to make it into a Hackintosh. Well, what happened? Wireless, or Wi-Fi, doesn't work. I have to use a dongle. Audio doesn't work. So if you put a headphone jack, well, it's not working. And I looked for Kext. I did the Voodoo audio. I did all that good stuff. The only solution? A USB audio output. Well, okay, only two things. Well, battery level. I can't get my battery level to show up anywhere. So I have no idea if my computer is charged or discharged or any of that. Well, okay, you can put another dongle. Well, for the battery, good luck. You don't put a dongle. You just keep it charged or on power like I'm doing right now because, of course, I wanted it. And now, what's the third problem that I'm having here? And it's quite a big problem. I can't edit video or audio flawlessly. Even though when I did this one, this laptop was still current, was pretty good. It has a High Sierra installed on it. Well, I can use, and I'm going to show you the screen right here. Let me just start it right here. So now you will see the screen on this laptop. And let me minimize that one. And as you see, even the graphics are pretty horrible. And let me minimize this part. And yes, the main what I use here would be, you know, Virtual DJ, GarageBand, Fruity Loop Studio, Logic Pro X, and for editing, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, iMovie. I tried all of them. I even went to Movavi, to, Wondershare. I tried almost everything. And the main problem is drivers. Let's go ahead, for example, and try to connect my audio here. As you know, that's the only way it works, right? Let's throw the audio in and try to record something, right? Insert this here. In this case, it should at least produce audio internally. Even if it doesn't do anything else, internally, it should produce audio. Let's plug it in. Okay, the audio device here is on, as you see. I'm not sure if you can see that red LED. And let's put it on the side. I'm not going to put any outputs there, because I can see the levels. And let's fire up, for example, Logic Pro. Or let me go with GarageBand, because probably everybody has GarageBand since it's free, right? You will see quite a problem here. Oh, select the driver not found. Even though, as you see here on top, the audio driver is actually inserted. And it should technically be working. Well, you say, but you didn't connect your headphones. Well, let me close this one. And let me connect the headphones. Okay, here are my headphones. I'm just some regular ones. And here's the headphone jack on here. And let me insert the regular headphone jack, not the 3.5, right here. Right now, the headphones are inserted. And let me see if I can hear any audio in my own ears. Because right now, let me try to change the volume. And yes, I hear the tick. You know how Apple does that tick, tick, when you go with volume up and down? Right here. And if I go now to GarageBand, let me see if it opens. Or if it finds the driver. Select the driver not found. Okay, maybe it's a GarageBand problem, right? And let me just close it with GarageBand. Let me go with Logic Pro. Oh, not OBS, because that's what I'm recording the screen for you guys. Let me go with Logic Pro, if it even opens, because sometimes it doesn't. Okay, Logic Pro starts. And let me just go with some electronic. It's loading it. And when it loads, because yes, it loads sometimes, I will show you why this is a problem. Why it doesn't work most of the time. I'm going to put it on big room, side chain. Let me just put a rhythm here. As you see the levels, you can barely hear it. And I see the audio levels there are going nuts. They're flying. Okay, well, let's say this one. Maybe it's my instrument. Maybe it just doesn't want to work with the keyboard. Well, let's disconnect the keyboard. Let's get rid of the keyboard, right? And let's go to something else. Let's get rid of the keyboard. Let's go to Pioneer. Yes, this is a regular DDJ SX2 4-channel Pioneer. And now let me just connect it and fire it up. And now let me turn it on. Okay. All the lights come on as regular, as they're supposed to, right? Now let me fire up Virtual DJ. On Windows, when I connect this Pioneer to Virtual DJ, it goes right away on, and it starts working. Here, it doesn't do that. That's a problem. Let me let it open. As you see, it's not even recognized. And no, now it doesn't even work. And no, I know you're going to say that, oh, you need a Virtual DJ Pro or 2021 or whatever. No, that's not true because I have the same Virtual DJ 7 on an older computer. I connect this Pioneer to it. It fires up right away, and you see the controls. All you have to do is, yes, to install the driver. But there's no way to install the driver on Apple because, of course, now I have Macintosh or Hackintosh, what you want to call it. Well, let's say maybe the Pioneer was the problem. Well, let me take off the Pioneer. Let's disconnect it. Let me turn off the power from the Pioneer. And let's go on with a Gemini. You know, Gemini fires up on almost anything. It's one of those almost like a tractor that just runs up. And no, I tried to install Serato. It would not recognize audio drivers for the life of me, at least on my laptop version. And why I'm saying my laptop version is that, yes, if you spend $2,000-$3,000 on a higher end computer and make it, rig it to death, and yes, it works. You put external audio, external Wi-Fi, external video, or higher graphics card or whatever. In that case, yes, it might work. But what's the whole point of building a Hackintosh when you have $2,000-$3,000 to spend and you're a musician? You're a musician, you have that money to spend. You just go buy a MacBook or a iMac, whatever you need. You don't go around trying to modify Kexts and trying voodoo drivers and Olarila and whatever. Those guys did a great job, by the way. I'm not tossing it on them. But the fact of the matter is that it just doesn't work. If you're a musician or a video editor, stay away from Hackintosh. Maybe if you're a video editor and you have a lot of money and you want to have a dual boot high-end PC, you can try it. But I'm talking about a musician that doesn't want to spend the $2,000 on a MacBook, but want to play with the toys anyway. This is not going to work. And yes, let me fire up the Gemini really quick, so we are being fair to both of them. I can find the plug for this thing here. Insert it right here. Here's the plug. I put the USB on it here. And yes, I actually know the location without looking at it. And let me fire it up. Okay. As you see, the device itself works. It's actually an excellent device. So now, let me go to the laptop and turn off Virtual DJ. So we restart Virtual DJ with a Gemini. By the way, that's the G2V, not the G4V. There's another version of this Gemini. That's 4 channels. That's a G4V. This one is G2V. And let me fire up Virtual DJ again. And I'm just taking random music making stuff that a lot of DJs have around just, to play around. And yes, I'm talking about for the budget DJs. I'm not talking about if you're David Guetta or somebody that, have butlers to even spin your wheels. That's a different story. And as you see right here, it doesn't recognize it. It doesn't, and there's no way for me to install the drivers because it's a Hackintosh. There's not going to be a Kext specifically for a G2V or a DDJ SX2 or even for my Launchpad S. The small one, even the Launchpad doesn't have drivers to communicate with this Hackintosh. Yes, let me turn off this one. We're piling up quite a few now in the keyboard I tossed on the side. Let me insert this one here. Here, let me turn this off. And if you used Launchpads before, you know very well when you connect it, you see the lights start up first. And yes, this is a fully working Launchpad. It's not a throwaway Launchpad, by the way. So, this is connected now to this computer, and no lights or anything visible, and Fruity Loops at least should make it fire up some options lights or settings lights. Let me fire up Fruity Loops right here, and it's almost there. Boom, nothing. Let me turn this off. MIDI controller, device, mobile pre, and it does not recognize the Launchpad. So it only recognizes the M audio or what do you want to call mobile pre, but it doesn't recognize any of the music instruments. So what good is it to me? Maybe you would have probably, if I have a guitar, I'm not going to bring it here now. You can connect a guitar, yes, to your preamp or M audio, whatever you want to call these things, the USB audio interface. Maybe in that case, yes, you can insert a guitar or a live instrument and play it analog to your favorite software, whatever you want to decide to use. But for me, most of my music I make is electronic. I don't really... Yes, you might say I'm a shitty musician because I don't do I don't do real music with a real guitar, real that, or real this. But I want to make my music with these electronics. It doesn't work. So as you saw, I tried in front of you all these. Yes, you might say get a new laptop, get a different laptop. But the whole point is trying to use what I have as Hackintosh. That is the whole premise of this video. To use what we have as Hackintosh. And this is just not cutting it. Another one, Bluetooth headphones. Yes, Bluetooth, as you see here, is actually on, or it's supposed to be on in this computer. And if I go here, it will try to open Bluetooth preferences, as you see here. Let me connect my headphones, and it's power on right now, as you heard on the microphone. And let me put them right on top of the laptop and see if it even recognizes them. Here we go. We can wait all day long here. It will not find any of them. Any of them. And yes, if you see the Bluetooth action going on here, you know that I installed the right text for audio and Bluetooth and AirPort and all that. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Now, is there a way to make it work? Yes. I can go through 15 laptops and buy the one that supports these drivers and all that stuff, but it still gets back to the point, if I had $2,000 to spare, I'd just go buy a MacBook. Who is this for? The Hackintosh. Ultimately, it comes to somebody that just wants to test around on, how Hackintosh works, and if it's worth it for you, and all that kind of stuff. But if you really just want a working computer, and you are not doing it for testing purposes like I'm doing here, you will stay away from Hackintosh. Because, in all seriousness, it's not worth it. It just doesn't work. You can't really do any gaming on it. You cannot do music editing. You cannot do video editing. Really, what is it good for? To browse? Now people are browsing in toasters, with a nice Linux distro, I imagine. But if you want to test, by all means, if you have a spare laptop that you don't care, try it on it. Try it. It's not going to work on AMD, I'm telling you right now. Most of the time, it will not work on AMD processors. Mostly Sierra, and before that, you have a higher chance of working. The system I used here is Olarilla. I think it's spelled Olarilla, Olarilla macOS, something like that. I'm not sure if they even exist. I think they're Brazilian. And yes, and another thing I forgot to tell you. Microphones. If I insert a microphone anywhere, either on my music making devices or the music conversion device here, it will not be recognized on the Hackintosh. So take the microphone and go tell Electro Voice that they didn't project it for Hackintosh. And by the way, yes, it's a real Electro Voice, because I used to be a real fan of Electro Voice. I had speakers from them. I had I think my first Electro Voice amplifier was a Q66 4-channel amplifier, if I'm not wrong. I used to love that thing. And yes, I had never been really a big fan of powered speakers. I always had passive speakers commanded by an amplifier. It's just my personal preference. They just, to me, seemed a little bit more reliable. And if you started in this music business, I would suggest stay away from powered speakers. For long term, I'm talking about if you're taking a birthday or a wedding or a party or whatever that you have to bring your own stuff, powered speakers aren't going to do it. I just from personal experience, I had, before the EVs, what got me even actually on the passive EVs was that I had American Audio. I'm not sure if anybody remembers those. They were powered. And for some reason, they just started popping. After you hold the music for 4 hours, 5 hours, those will start overheating and will start shutting down because, they reach that peak of heat and in order to prevent the board inside, they have to shut down. So that's what made me jump to passive speakers. And yes, with that said, enough talking, and the end point of this conversation is, if you're looking at Hackintosh to help you do anything serious regarding music or video, really just don't waste your time. And if you have money to spend, just go buy an iMac or a MacBook Pro, and that's it. Get rid of this. The only reason you would do a Hackintosh at this point, as we stand right now, not talking about years ago when I built it, but as for now, the only reason you would do it is to test yourself if you can build one, and if you can follow instructions online to build one. But other than that, nothing. It's not worth it. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye!